Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 8. Module 8, we start the next essay, which is our argument essay. The argument essay is probably the most difficult essay for the class. It's the one that's going to take the most modules to complete. And so we also have the most criteria that you need to meet here in this assignment. The main thing that's different is, even though that you're kind of using similar, like your own personal experience to really work on the topic, you are also using a source in this essay. So we're going to include some introductory documentation stuff, some introductory information about finding sources and that kind of thing. So this is stuff that will carry over, really trying to get it to you so that you get that introduction before you've moved on to some of your higher level classes, as well as like Comp 2, so that you've got that basis, that foundation. So you start out with just getting some information about argument. We moved on to this argumentation pattern. So in the patterns book, you have a whole chapter on argumentation that discusses just different ways that we use argument, different ways we have been introduced to argument, that kind of thing. And so you want to read that and then take the quiz. Then you want to get into the assignment itself, and we're doing all the same kind of pre-writing stuff that we've done for the other essays. For this one, again, you have 3 options to choose from. And in this case, they're fairly broad. So anything that you can think of, you probably could fit under one of these topics, except for just a general argument. I don't want students picking something like abortion or something like that. Those are just like standard argument topics that generally tend to not be very personal. So in this case, we're relying somewhat on your own experience. You are using a source for this essay, so it does need to be something that can apply to other people, but for the most part, you're just thinking about your own experience. So it could be a past decision, and what your argument is basically going to be the defense of that position of whether or not the decision you made was logical. And this could be, an argument that you had with your mom or something. So maybe you decided to go back to school, or maybe you decided to choose a area of study that your parents didn't think was going to help you, or something like that. You could do a personal challenge where you write an argument where you are taking a position on whether a personal challenge you faced made you stronger or change your perspective. This could also be a problem in society that you see, so a challenge that you see just in general. And then you also have the option to do what's called a passion argument. A passion argument would be something that you think other people should try based on your own experiences. What are some things that you have, maybe something that you've bought, maybe somewhere where you've gone, maybe it's an activity that you started. What are the benefits that you see for yourself, and how can you see that being given to other people? So what is your argument there? You'll have you'll address counter opinions for all 3 of these, but basically we're thinking of, like, how do we create an argument? How do we support our side with evidence, and then address what other people might say is an issue or questions that they would have, or something like that. So the essay itself is basic criteria. Introduction is going to really grab the reader's attention and give us all that background information. The main thing we want to see in the introduction is, why is it controversial? Why are there more than one viewpoint on this topic? Thesis statement should be primarily is going to be either a should or needs to statement, but there's also some options there for just stating your claim or position. So I've got some examples for you. You're developing your thesis with your mix of personal experience and then, of course, logical analysis and explanation. We want to make sure everything's convincing, that you've used a lot of logic in your argument, and that you may have gone to use sources to just help support. So, if there's a particular brand of running shoe that you think every runner should use, then you want to do research on why that particular brand of shoe, obviously it may be the best for you, but is it going to be the best for other people? And then we're going to do some research to see what's out there, who says that, what are they doing that makes their shoe different, that kind of thing. So then, like, pull it all together. You are going to address that opposing viewpoint or question or something like that, counter argument, anything that is just what someone else might say against that, and then your logical, what we call a refutation or rebuttal, brings it back to your side. And then all the evidence you are going to include at least one credible source, and you may want to include more than one. In particular, those of you who have used sources before and are comfortable with MLA, you may end up wanting to use more just to really build up that evidence. Those of you who've never used a source in an essay before, this may be a little bit more of a challenge. So follow along with the other assignments to make sure that you're doing it correctly. You can obviously use first person if you want to, because it is about you. You're using your own personal experience, something that's happened to you. And then it is a little bit longer than the previous essay. We are looking to, because you will have like at least 3 supporting paragraphs and then at least 1 opposing paragraph. That means you're going to have 6 paragraphs minimum. So you're going to, be thinking about a little bit longer of an essay. There's also topic ideas for you, different questions you can ask yourself, and then examples of, thesis outline or thesis statements. There's no outline examples. It says thesis and outline examples. These are all thesis examples. I can't talk. And then this is where you're going to do your free write. So just as a reminder, and I keep having to remind students of this like this entire semester, do not correct the errors in your free write. If it's error free, you did it wrong. So you're typing whatever comes to mind as fast as possible. There will be errors. There will be words that aren't capitalized. There'll be words that are misspelled. If you have one of those programs that changes things automatically, just turn that off. And then I've got a bunch of prompts that you can do 1 or more of and just type it out, and just keep that in mind. For a free write is just continual flow of ideas. And then thesis and outline, just like we've done before. Again, some of you are not doing this. Make sure if you're using AI to help you that you label it. Okay, you need to have both versions, yours and the AI, and make sure that you label them. You can't just upload an AI version and have that count as your outline. Okay, you need to make sure that you are very clear about when you are using AI in this class. Don't try to lie to me about it. Okay. And then mid-semester reflection. So this is the other part of the fact that we're in Module 8. We are at the midpoint of the class, so we're halfway through. You're reflecting on the class itself. How are you doing so far? Are you meeting your goals? What's been challenging? What are you having issues with? What questions do you have? That kind of thing. And this should all be, write it out in your own words. It can be answers to the questions. It can be written out in a like paragraph sort of essay form. It doesn't matter to me. But since we're at the midpoint, we have that option or that assignment. And then you also have the option to do the midpoint survey. And the survey is anonymous survey that you can receive 5 points extra credit for completing. We'll have the same survey at the end of the semester as well for another extra credit opportunity. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, have a great